This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it's time for How to SuperAge with Elise Marie Collins. Now, let me tell you all, this show is produced and sponsored by New Cleveland Radio, and the sponsor for today's show is Elise Collins with all of her books. I am so excited. In fact, Elise, I have to tell you, I've been on this new health kick for the last 6 months, and I've lost over 60 pounds. And in doing that, my taste buds have changed. And so I had to pull out your book, and I've been trying all these different fruit combinations. And it's interesting that I have found that there are certain things that I can add to it that will change the taste to make me like it. So, like, I used to like strawberries, and I don't like strawberry anymore, but there are certain additives in your recipes that make it taste good. So tell everybody about your books before we get started.
Well, I have a few books. I think you're talking about Chakra Tonics.
Yes.
Yes. Chakra Tonics is a recipe book. I also have a book, I always get mixed up on this show because the show is How to SuperAge. My book is SuperAger. The recipe book has teas and tonics for your chakras, which is, if you don't know about the chakra system, it's a mind, body. It's a way to connect to your body, your mind, and your spirit. And it's from ancient Indian texts. So it's a little, I think for us in the West, it's a little challenging to think, what are the chakras? Because we just don't grow up with those kind of ideas. We're kind of a different culture. But the Chakra Tonics gives you a way to think about the themes of the chakras and drink a drink, because for me, the best ritual is having a nice cup of tea or a morning smoothie. And if I'm contemplating, what do I want to have for my vision, my third eye, what is my vision for today? Then I can drink my drink and think, what is my vision? What has my vision been? Where am I going? And that's just one example because we have a lot of different chakras. The visioning one is right between your eyes, and we also call it the third eye. So I'm not sure which chakra tonics you were making, but you'll have to tell us.
I just keep opening up the book and looking, and if something sort of sounds good, it's like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I haven't totally connected it with me, but I will tell you it's made a huge difference in the way I feel. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the answer right there.
Exactly, yeah. And I love books like that you can just open up and turn to a page. And we're going to talk about a book like that. I mean, it's great to read cover to cover. It's an easy read, it's a fun read. But I'm going to tell you about our guest today. And I think I'm going to have you can you say your name so I don't mispronounce it, Carmen?
Sure, Carmen is what I go by. uh, but the funny thing is, when I started writing, there's so many Carmens, and there's so many people with my last name too. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to use all my names. So it's Carmen Estela Kennedy Saleh. Saleh would be my married name. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely,
Yeah.
lovely name. It's a beautiful
Thank
name.
you.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's why I go by Elise Marie Collins. People say, are you Elise or Elise Marie? And I have to say the same thing. You'd be surprised how many Elise Collins there are.
Oh yeah.
One that's an astronaut. So I haven't flown anywhere in in a rocket ship.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I couldn't get an email with my name without some crazy numbers attached to it, right?
Exactly.
So I just said, if I want to just use my name for this endeavor, I'm just gonna have to pull out the whole thing.
Mhm. It does
Yeah.
make it easy to find you. I have to say,
Okay.
people can search you and look for your book, but I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about you from your bio and your website. Carmen is a writer and a perennial learner. And she's at home in class discussions. She's a professor. And just as much as she is planted behind a good book, Always love someone who loves a good book. And we met, we met at the Hayward Library. So that was auspicious. We were at an local author festival. So she's also in the Bay Area. Her literature is in the Themis, I don't know how to pronounce that, Acacia journals, respectively, and Blacklandia's 2026 anthology. I think that's coming out next year, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Nice. You'll have to tell us about that. She has been honored with the James D. Phelan Literary Award, a Solas Award for Culture and Ideas, and in 2023, she wrote a love letter, which we're going to talk about today, and it was honored by Small Press Distribution as a bestseller in May and June of that same year. A love letter steps you into the sharp tenderness of a loved one's transition. San Francisco Poet Laureate Emeritus Tongo Eisen Martin writes, its pages expose your mind to various mirrors of an embrace while walking you down the predatory nodes of a medical system that serves capital and rage with equal measure. In a few pages, you are years changed. This love letter should make you, that's the end of that quote. This love letter should make you uncomfortable. It should confront you with humanity, and it should animate you to cry for care that is both cost-free and comprehensive care that follows the body from inception to internment. So I think I'm going to leave it there. And you'll have to remind us later, or even now if you'd like, where we can get this book, because I do notice it was sold out on Amazon, and I think we can get it on your website. Is that correct?
Yeah, my website links you to the publisher. So that would be, again, my full name, Carmen Estela Kennedy Saleh, .com.
.com, yes.
Yeah. And I spell Estella with one L.
Yes, and we'll link that in the chat notes. So
Okay.
don't be afraid if you're driving. You can click on it later if you're listening
Thanks.
while you're in motion. But it's
I
such a beautiful
appreciate that.
book that you wrote. I bought it at the book fair, and I hate to say it, but it is a small, it's a little book. Do you have a copy you can hold up?
Teeny, weeny, little thing.
Yeah, it's teeny, so teeny that we had Thanksgiving. You can see I'm in a dining room, and that's where I also use as an office. And so when Thanksgiving happened, I put it somewhere, and I remember going, I gotta keep this out, but I cannot find it. So I'm still looking for it.
That's okay. It's called a chapbook, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
Yeah.
particular segment in publishing where, it's a complete story, but it's just, in terms of page count, fits a certain criteria. So we decided to go chapbook with this one.
Yeah. And I think we're in an era where chapbooks are kind of like the best books because people unfortunately are not reading as much. They don't have as much time. And that's why this book is so beautiful. It's so beautifully written. It's so
Thank you.
poignant. You could put it out. I hate to say it, but it could be a great bathroom book because you can sit there and you can read it quickly. But that popped in my head. I don't know why. But it is both poignant and jarring. And yeah, I'm wondering, I understand the
Thank
inspiration
you.
was through your aunt that you wrote about, but what got you to actually write a book, to put pen to paper about this topic?
Right. So we were kind of commiserating before we came online here about the fact that we're at a point in life where we might have people who are younger than us that we're, caring for or are part of our family, and people who are definitely older than us that we also might be caring for. And yeah, a good portion of my life has been taken up with that particular status. And the stories kept compiling in my head. I gotta get this out. I need some therapy. So writing therapy became a thing that I didn't know was a thing. And I wanted to go back to school to tap back into the creative side of myself. I'm working in Silicon Valley all this time as well. But yeah, I wanted to get back to my creative roots, even though um, in Silicon Valley, in corporate, in tech, I'm able to tease out bits of myself in creative ways. I just was not focused on my art that's purely expressive. So I went back to school and I got my MFA, and the goal was to do something with these stories that were in my head and some of the journaling that I had been doing. And this was just one piece of that. A love letter was just one piece of that. Um, and so I have other stories too. So you were reading my bio and you saw that I put a few things out there, and I have a few things that are in the pipeline, like coming in 2026. I'll, I'll, I'll have a academic chapter that I will contribute to an anthology. And then there's a creative anthology that I'm going to contribute to as well, which you mentioned. And yeah, I am just now able to see the business side of what I would like to do creatively. So that way, what I'm doing creatively sees the light of day. A love letter was one of those things that saw the light of day. And, I'm I'm actively working on putting more of my art out there. And yeah, I'm having a blast doing it because, again, it allows me to purge because I'm usually writing creative nonfiction. I guess I could wax into the area of fiction, but uh, everything that I'm writing is coming from my lived experience. So I just call it creative nonfiction. And, it also allows me to wax poetic, which is something that I was introduced to when I was going through the MFA program. Um, and yeah, it's basically I placed myself in an arena where I could learn the formal side of what I want to do creatively.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's great. I hadn't been aware of that journey. And it sounds like, and I know you're teaching, I think tell us a little bit about your teaching.
Yeah, you know what? I love the university so much. I just stuck around. So,
Oh,
so yeah, yeah, they can't get rid of me yet.
okay. That's
They
what
might
it is.
try. But yeah, I just decided, I'm going to teach too. This is cool. I love it. I love the environment. I
Yeah.
love the constant academic rigor. I love the people who are there.
Mhm.
Um, you might laugh at me, but kind of like captive audience, right? But at least you have an audience where you can not just share ideas, but have your ideas challenged.
Yeah.
I like that. Mhm.
Oh, I can totally relate. I got my master's in gerontology a few years ago,
Ah,
and I just loved it. I still think about getting a PhD. We'll
yes.
see what happens down the
Yeah.
line, but I thoroughly relate to what you're saying. And I think that's another trend. I always like to point out not little, but big trends that we're talking about here. Uh, because I am a gerontologist, so I'm steeped in the trends. I've written some academic chapters as well, and I
There you
love
go.
that stuff.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
nerding out and bringing it, the art too, because it's an art to write an academic chapter. It's an art to write a chapbook. It's an art to write many, many things. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate that. Oh, and one thing you were talking about earlier, you guys were talking about caregiving for older and younger, I believe, which is a huge trend. I always, we know it's the sandwich generation, but I always love the British, because I had a British professor when I was in grad school. He was British, and he called it sandwich carers.
Aha,
And
okay.
I have to always say that because I always picture people taking care of sandwiches. It makes me laugh
And
instead of
all the layers to that, right? I mean,
exactly. It's a beautiful metaphor.
yeah,
And yeah, maybe that could be a poem. Sandwich carers.
that's
Little
good.
sandwiches all out on plates.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
So
love it.
yeah, there's so many trends. And even going back to school, I think there's also an idea that you have to do things in a certain sequence, and people are learning more and more. You can go back to school at any age, pursue different
Absolutely.
things at any age. And there's kind of a fear threshold, even for me, I'll have to say, I admit to it in, wanting to get my PhD, but waiting for the right time. When will that be? It could
Yeah.
be because I'm a caregiver. It could be that I should just go for it now. But,
Yeah.
there is, I'm not going to lie, that voice is in my head that like, when am I going to do it? Or is this, should I do that? Will they let me in? Or, like,
Yeah, absolutely. They'll let you in. I mean, we can talk,
okay.
so to speak, right? Because I've also learned like stepping into the institution, which is like a different business model, because that was not where I have been all my life. Like I said, I was working in Silicon Valley and corporate, and corporate in Silicon Valley is tech. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
that. Um, and so yeah, stepping into the institution, I had a little bit of rose-colored glasses because I was looking at it from the student perspective. But you step into it, it's just like any other business. Um, and they are clamoring to bring students into their programs. So do not be deterred. If you want to get that doctorate, you do it. You do it at any age that you choose to do it at, any entry point of your life that works for you. Um, and yeah, you'll be around a lot of young people, but you know what? Sometimes that's inspiring.
Absolutely.
I,
And I I highly encourage folks who might be like me. I call myself a late boomer. uh,
yeah.
you know, even though I'm on the tail end of the boomer side. But yeah, I'm late. I came in, I raised my children. I came into school, after I was secure in knowing that they had a good foundation. I'm coming into now basically a new career for me, which is in the, institution, higher ed. Um, and yeah, at a time when a lot of folks are retiring, I'm building.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to.
no, I
Yeah.
full on feel that. And I looks like Karen has something to ask you, but I just want to highlight that because I actually saw something. We're both in the Bay Area. I love that you have that tech angle too, because people watch this all over the world,
Yeah.
all over the country, and that you have that knowledge of tech. Not many people, have that angle. It's something unique. I mean, there's tech all over, but we have a special uh,
Relationship with it. Yeah,
yeah, we have a special
absolutely.
relationship.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can I just qualify what I said too by
Absolutely,
saying
pleasure.
that my roots are as a creative. So I was a creative in tech. So I've always been a fish out of water.
Yeah,
But I make space for myself somehow. I've thrived.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you both brought up a very special point, and that is it is never too late to go out and learn more. And,
Absolutely.
you know, some of us go back to school because we want a degree, but we can all go back to school. And especially if you are 55 and older, most colleges now will let you take classes at no charge. Now, you're not going to get credit for them, but you're going to get the knowledge. You're going to be in that classroom with people of various ages. And you can tell me if I'm wrong about this, Elise, but from everything I've read, seniors who live longer and live well have friends of all ages. They are not just stuck in their core because their core eventually moves away, passes away, or is not capable to keep up with them. So, the fact that we've all moved on and creating new careers, I think that is telling us, hey, if we can do it, anybody out there listening can do it.
100%. Yeah. 100%. And education is also one of the kind of intangible things that helps people live longer. It's not just because you know how to take care of yourself. It's not just because you know how to read a prescription or medical pill box or whatever you want to call it. It is not that. There's something intangible that education, I think it's very empowering and it's expansive. It's not, it does something to us. And I think especially as we're older. And so I wholeheartedly encourage anyone listening that if you do want to take classes, get a degree, whatever it is, maybe you start out taking the classes without getting the degree, but maybe you decide to get that degree. It is something that it is very life-changing. And the generations, hanging out with different generations is another thing that is really expansive, for lack of a better word right now. I know that intergenerational relationships also make us stronger. There's literature on that. And one of my professors, I remember I had his quote for a while on my email. If you want to live to be 100, make younger friends. Yes. And I can see that with my parents. Unfortunately, I mean, we are living longer. There's going to be more people living longer. But for my parents, they're in both 95 and 96, and for a lot of their friends are sadly no longer with us. Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I love it when someone, even who is maybe a grad student, or senior, is sitting in one of the class with some of the younger undergrads, um, just to catalyze the conversation sometimes, bring in a different perspective. Um, it's not that you have to know everything, but you know a lot because you've lived and you have that experience. Um, and somehow you have also that level of confidence that invites you into conversations where younger people are developing that. So again, this is just me dovetailing the fact of you saying that, um, multi-generational uh, gatherings, uh, situations are really a benefit to all.
exactly. Yeah. It's something I look for those intergenerational situations. I don't see situations meaning events, activities. We are in the quote unquote holidays now.
Mhm.
And as families, some people don't have family or they don't have family near them, so they may not be gathering, but gathering with different generations in the family is one, but that again is not accessible to everybody or not everybody has that. Um, Sports events. I mean, I'm actually going to go to a basketball game with my mom later today. I got my back. Oh, you can't see it, but
You
cat
got it.
basketball. Yeah.
Berkeley.
And that's something she loves and I enjoy going to. So, yeah, I look for those places. Book clubs are another one. I'm actually president of Women's National Book Association, and a couple months ago I wrote about book clubs, and both of the
Nice.
people I interviewed without even planning this, they both said, "Well, I have someone in my book club." One was a family book club, and she has a 100-year-old, I think, aunt or 100-plus-year-old aunt, and another book club that's national online had a woman that's 100 as well. So I didn't even think that that was going to come out of it, but that is an intergenerational space. And both of the people I interviewed said that they loved, the different perspectives of different generations to
Yeah.
hear that in these book clubs. So I think there is places, but just not enough gathering and communities where we really listen to each other and listen to different generations, listen to different perspectives. I think I can speak for myself, but I'm guessing you guys might be on the same page that we are seeking those
Right.
opportunities. I know
Oh
Karen
yeah,
is. I'm sure we're
definitely.
all. Actually, I'll just speak. I don't like to speak for people, but
No, you hit it. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, and that really is something I'd love to hear what that's brought both of you, like uh something you've learned maybe recently or just in general about, from being in those spaces, because some people aren't. We got to encourage them.
Yeah. Well, part of it's socioeconomic. We are in a society that is built to make sure labor continues to labor, right? The laboring class continues to labor, and we do not have systems, or we have not found the political will to support life holistically, right? As in equal pay, as in, paid vacation or time with family, as in family leave, as in, all the things, right? So I think part of it, this siloing of generations and tethering to work is built into our systems,
It is.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so, I rail against that a little bit in the book, perhaps not explicitly. But that's what brings us to where we are right now, which is, quite frustrating.
Yeah.
I kind of went on a tangent there, but not a
Oh,
tangent because
yeah.
I think it's relevant to the fact that we have this desire to want to create the world that we're talking about right now, where we have this wonderful time to come together and have intergenerational uh, interactions, and enjoy book reading and feel as if we have um, that you remember Maslow's need hierarchy.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
We've achieved that place on the pyramid where we're not scrambling at the bottom, but we can actually lean into ourselves and actualize ourselves to a certain extent. But yeah, the system is not supporting that. So I
You,
think
you,
that's an illustration of that,
you know
unfortunately.
what is interesting? About almost 2 months ago, my middle brother passed away very quickly,
I'm sorry.
and um, was a music producer the majority of his life. And the last 20 years, he's lived in a small town in upstate New York called Saratoga Springs, which is full of musicians. Some just dabble at it, some, have huge awards. And I'm so grateful he found his home there 20 years ago because he was able to keep doing the love of his life, and keep growing on it. Well, what I found when we were there for his celebration of life was a community of people of all ages. In fact, a young children's musician group that knew my brother as intimately probably as I did, because that's what they do in this community. And when we left, I said to my husband, I almost don't want to go home. I live in a large condo subdivision, and the only time I see people is in the summer when I go to the pool. And we all
Yeah.
sort of gab with each other. But then at the end of the day, we all go home to our safe spots. And I said, if I lived in a community like this, I don't sing, I don't play music, but I appreciate music. I said, I would go to these different groups. I would go listen to these young kids play. I would go listen to these. In fact, there was a gentleman there who was 102 years old who just learned how to play the piano. And it was like, wow. So it's almost like we have to start doing this for ourselves. We have to start making these communities, because without them, we end up, thinking, what else is there in life? And there's a lot. There's a lot for us to live for. I mean, look at your mother going to a basketball game today. I mean, to me, that is exciting because I love basketball as well. And it's like, I wouldn't have expected that because you've told me you go to the opera with your mother. I never thought of her going to a basketball game. So, hey, enjoy life.
Yeah. Now she's been going for 40 years. Yes. And I think you bring up a beautiful point, Karen, because what I was reflecting on is artists and musicians, yogis also. I relate to being a yogi. I'm also a yoga teacher. And that's kind of my relationship with the tech world is I was always teaching yoga in San Francisco, which was a kind of a tech capital, especially at certain times, certain decades, certain eras. And a lot of my students would be in the tech world. And, things would happen. There'd be a bust or a boom or something. And I felt like we're just doing the same poses. We're coming back to the same principles. And, this is ancient wisdom. And people would, yeah, go through panics or like, oh, everything's this or that. And I always felt like a little detached. And sometimes it felt, am I in this? Who, am I part of this? But I enjoyed who I was. So I didn't feel I needed to, you know, I just like to be in my own little bubble. That's what I say. But so I think we do have those communities, and that's also something that the Blue Zones have taught us, or that I've learned from the Blue Zones, that you can create a community similar to Loma Linda. Loma Linda is all Seventh-day Adventists. It's the only Blue Zone that's not isolated. All the other Blue Zones are in places that were isolated. So yeah, it's in my book. You can check it out. But yeah, we could make those communities, but I think, I just love the way you're writing, and your philosophy, Carmen, is all about these big picture concepts, the political will, but you're bringing it down to brass tacks, and your story is about that, but in a very, personal manner. Like, how are these things playing out, and when are we going to change? How are we going to change? How are we going to create these communities? I don't have those answers, but I know I'm looking for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. So I'll just jump in for a second. We talk about people getting together. I think political action is part of that as well. So yeah, I mean, I'll just leave it at that, because the key is to find something that you're passionate about. So obviously, the thing that we're talking about, we're passionate about, right? And we found community around it. That's why we're here together on this call.
Mhm.
But it's going to take pockets of people, a lot of that everywhere, because it's everything everywhere all at once, to kind of grab the title of the movie. In order for us to move forward. It's not like a one thing happening with a one group of people uh, uh, coalescing that moves the needle forward for us, either, politically, and then, as a extension of that, politically, then systemically, right? Um, so yeah.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful book. It's called, let's see, 55 Underemployed and
Oh,
Faking Normal by Elizabeth White. I don't know if you've,
oh, I know her. I've been on, what do you call it? The Clubhouse with her. Yeah, she's a friend
oh,
of a friend of mine. Yeah. She's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, so I think that kind of taps into what I was alluding to, which is um, the system creates a situation where it's even hard to be able to tap into some leisurely things that we would like to do, because life circumstances, um, and again, just our foundation, our societal foundation based on labor, um, has made it so that, we would all like to have that disposable income to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Um, and, I would like to retire, but it's just not going to happen. You know, um, and that, I think that is, I think that as I step into that, not complaining, but with fire under my, excuse my French, ass, Um, it's a good thing. It's an unfortunate thing because it casts a light on uh, what we've chosen societally to be the status quo. But the fact that I still have fire under me shows that there's hope for us to move forward and for there to be more uh, what do I want to say? Parity when it comes to folks stepping into uh, a more fully lived life, right? Um, so the folks that you're talking about in New York who created the community, um, I imagine they feel a lot of abundance, but they had to give up. They had to give up a lot of stuff
Oh,
to do that
absolutely.
as well.
Yep.
That's like a big major life decision to step off the hamster wheel and create something that's antithetical to, the hegemonic norm. Um, yeah, so kudos to them. In many ways, it's a privilege, but in many ways, it's a choice too,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Um, and a choice that demanded and demands you rethink things drastically, and also, again, what do I want to say? Have to give something up.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hearing it takes courage.
Courage. I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be privilege, but it can also be courage. And what I always lean on is a quote that's been attributed to Jimi Hendrix and others. I don't know who originated, but when the love of power, no, sorry, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world
Uh,
will be at peace.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
my little thing that I hold in my heart. And because it is hard to, to think about all these systems, where am I going to fit in? Where am I going to? But if I just keep thinking, if I lean into love, and I even heard Karen say that word love, if I lean into that love and that's my direction, I know I can get pulled off course into this other, it is labor that I'll be just pushing the world in the direction I want to go. I always say to my son, um, my stepdaughter, the world, I don't know if I'm going to see this in my lifetime. I don't know how much shift I'm going to see, but I can kind of start to, I can't get rid of the system. I can work the system, from where I'm sitting and try to push people. That's what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To push
Yeah.
things in the direction I see, I see the light. I'll just say light because, yeah. And everybody has their own point of view too. And we don't all see the light or whatever, but if we're going towards that love, your love and your passion, I think that's going to make the world a better place, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. Find what you love. Find what you feel passionate about. And advocate for it wholeheartedly. Find community as we have,
Yes.
and advocate for it wholeheartedly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just want to make sure people can get your book. So it's on Black Lawrence Press. Is that the new publisher?
Yeah, Black Lawrence Press is the publisher. And again, if you go to my site, there's a link straight to their page. Um, and yeah, it's as simple as that. I'd rather you buy it through Black Lawrence than through
Oh,
Amazon.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now we're talking about our little hills, right? Our little
Yeah.
Yeah,
our little
that's
loves
okay.
and our little
That's good.
passions that we're leaning into. And that's just kind of like one of mine. I'm just sharing.
Yes.
Um,
I,
yeah.
yeah. No, that's great. And I just want to make sure because I know it said 10, it had a different, maybe you were published by something with a 10.
Nomadic Press in the
Oh,
beginning.
Nomadic Press. Okay.
So this is a wonderful story. Nomadic Press was based in Oakland slash San Francisco, right? North Bay. And they create a wonderful, robust community of poets and writers. and they published these folks. And then they relied upon funding, of course. Fast forward, Nomadic Press got out of the business for a bit and relocated in Mexico. They sold their business to Black Lawrence Press, and Black Lawrence Press picked up all the authors that were part of the Nomadic Press cohort. And so that's who many of us who are part of Nomadic Press are working with now. However, Nomadic Press has now come to San Francisco for a wonderful reopening. So if I can shout out both my publishers or both, entities that kind of helped me gain an entree into this world, that would be originally Nomadic Press, and you can find them on Instagram if you type it in Nomadic Press, and Black Lawrence Press. So I think I shout out both of them on my website and on the page that allows you to click and then jump over to their websites. And yeah, we're all about supporting small businesses. We're all about supporting small businesses that uplift voices of folks who don't normally get heard, right, in larger publishing platforms. And they are all about doing that. So yeah, if that's part of where you find love and passion and want to exercise your activism, then yeah, jump on over to I guess any kind of indie or smaller press and look for books,
That's a great point.
particularly during the holiday season.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Because I am the president of Women's National Book Association, and
There you
I want to highlight that supporting, because we often say, we meaning like-minded people, say support your local bookstore, that and support your local indie publisher, because that isn't said enough. And
Yeah.
people don't buy the
And they're
book.
all online now. I mean, so
Yeah, they're
it's
online.
not a
Yeah.
thing where you can't get to their store. Da, 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 da. It's like,
Yeah,
you can do this.
you can
Yep.
do this, and
You
yeah,
can
you
do this.
click away from the A word. Let's
There
just
you
call
go.
it that.
Yeah, I got you.
That
I
can
got
be
you.
addictive, but that's another story.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got you. I got you. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. And any final words you want to leave our audience with?
Oh, you know what? I just want to say thank you for creating this space, both of you. And I want to encourage folks to do what you have already said, come together and read, because I think reading is a thing that steps us into thinking about topics that, our day-to-day lives, because we, well, in my case, have to work, right? Don't always get a chance to engage with, right? Whether it's the topics that we're talking about, aging with grace and perhaps better health, and placing a lens on the systems in which we live and ideating a better future. But again, exactly as you both have been saying, it brings us into community with one
Yes.
another, right? We start talking about things that, without the catalyst of a book, might be a little weird or awkward or difficult to step into, because, these topics can be very layered and heady. But those conversations need to be had.
Yeah,
So thanks for that.
yeah,
Thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And
thank
keep
you.
us posted on all of your new publications. We'd love to have you back on again. So
Absolutely.
thank you
Thank
so
you so
much,
much.
everybody. Check the show notes for Carmen's beautiful book. Give it as a gift. It's a wonderful gift, heartfelt, and will move you into that power of love.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Been a great day. Bye-bye now.
Take care, Karen. Take